Democrats in both the House and the Senate are growing terrified about what Joe Biden might do to secure a debt ceiling deal to avoid default and, of course, a massive government shutdown. Earlier this week, I talked about the fact that Joe Biden signaled his willingness, apparently, to cut SNAP benefits by imposing even more strict work requirements that would kick about 10 million people, including 3 million children, off the SNAP benefit program. As the week has gone on, things have not gotten better. So let me read you what several high-profile Democrats have to say about how scared they are that Joe Biden is going to screw over low-income people to secure a deal. This is Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman. He says, quote, "I'm concerned because the president has every now and then moved to the right, if you will, to acquiesce to a so-called independent voter. And the American people want us to be bold and to stand firm and to make sure we're following through on our promises." Debbie Stabenow said this, "I'm deeply concerned about it, and we're just going to have to see. Hopefully, they're not going to get to that point where Biden cuts the food stamps. I remain very concerned about anything that hurts people that get a small amount of food assistance." John Fetterman said, "No one I've ever met wants to stay on SNAP for life. They need it to make ends meet. I sure didn't come to Washington to take vital assistance away from working people at the same time big bank CEOs nearly crash the economy and get to jet off to Hawaii scot-free. I cannot in good conscience support a debt ceiling proposal that pushes people into poverty." Now, there were plenty of people when I talked about this earlier this week who said, "Farron, Biden's not going to do that. You're being overly harsh on the guy." All right, fair enough. What do y'all have to say to the people actually working with Biden who say the exact same thing that I said? Suddenly things just got real quiet, didn't they? Got real quiet real fast. I'm not saying these things because I hate President Biden. I am saying these things as a warning alarm to let everyone know that these things are on the table. And now we have the actual people, some of whom have been involved in negotiations and talks in their respective bodies, about what could happen. They're terrified of the prospect of taking assistance away from low-income Americans who need it to survive. And I've actually seen a lot of people on social media talking about the fact that why don't they just work? Why don't they just get a job? Well, I actually explained that the other day too. In some of these areas where these people live across the United States, the only jobs available to them are not jobs that would work with their lives. If you've got young children at home or young children in school, right? The only time you as a single parent would be able to work would be during the school day while your children are at school and have a place to be. If you have children younger than school age and you have to pay for childcare, but the only job that you can get is a minimum wage job that technically won't even cover the expenses of childcare, it is not financially a viable option for you to take that only job if you're going to lose all that money to have to send your kids to childcare. Furthermore, if you have young kids that are school age but not old enough to be able to spend the night at home alone, and the only job you can have is working from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., that job also will not work for you. There are many different scenarios throughout this country right now why people who are receiving federal benefits are unable to take available jobs. Those able-bodied people, why aren't they working? Because you don't know their individual circumstances, now do you? But you're making snap judgments on these people just because you want to think that anybody that doesn't have a job is somehow lazy. That is not what is happening in this country, and punishing those people for doing nothing more than trying to take care of their family is a horribly disgusting thing that the Republicans are trying to do, and Democrats are terrified that Biden may go along with it. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.